to the Rebel Radio Podcast.
Hello.
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 I feel the intensity.
I didn't know what you were trying to do over there.
I was just trying to bring up the intensity.
Like if you were like, I'm going to channel my chi. A conductor?
Yeah.
Yeah, that you did kind of look like
orchestral conductor.
Yeah, like
Is that what I look like?
yeah, some like forte was coming up, and you were like getting ready for this big
sweat beads all over our faces.
It's been a sweaty week. It's hot.
sweaty week. Yes.
Like this is our first real hot week. Like this week, I felt like the sweat from my head to my toes and other body parts. You know, for the first real time in 2019. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree.
Yeah.
Does Ming Chen have a speech impediment? I never listened to it the way he talks, but I noticed that during the outro, last week's outro, I heard Ming Chen talk for the first time.
Oh, with his promo?
Yeah.
Oh, not that I know of. Maybe it's just the way he might have been drunk.
Oh.
Maybe.
Yeah, when he recorded that promo, he would come to. I recorded that promo at Compalooza, and he would come to Compalooza and drink a lot of beer sometimes.
Oh, okay.
So I think we've even interviewed Ming before when he was drunk that one time. Remember?
Yeah.
It's pretty, But hey,
Hey, I love you.
Yeah.
but he's he's such a great supporter of podcasting, and especially in Houston, he really likes what we've done with Compalooza and the podcast program, and he's been the only. I mean, is he a celebrity? I guess he is, to an extent. I mean, his celebrity might be down some now.
Yeah.
Of compliment not being on TV, but everyone knows who he is in the podcast world, and he's been on our show like 5 times. He's been more than any other other person that we've interviewed. He's been on the show live.
I thought Joe Rogan was the king of podcasters.
Joe Rogan.
In fact, this year's Compalooza was the first year we didn't go pod with him and talk to him for a little bit.
Yeah.
He didn't really have his own booth. He was just kind of there as an ambassador.
Fuck me. No.
And,
He did compliment me on my zip up that I bought, my 3/4 zip thing in Comic Palooza. He's like, "Oh, that's cool."
well, I was on a panel with him on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I hung out with him there, and I kind of played off of him on the panel stuff because they had me moderate, and then I'm like, I'm just going to play off King Chips and see.
Ben Stiller'd him.
Hell yeah, he knows shit.
You're just going to play off people the whole time.
But hey, why not?
Hey, if it works.
Exactly. So how are you guys?
I'm all right. I've been working, even though it was off today. I worked a lot today.
Nasally?
A little bit, not too bad. I painted the whole deck today, like into this sandy, concrete-ish kind of.
Why would you do that? That's like work.
Yeah, it's work. It's work.
When you're not at work.
Yeah, I know. I did. And it took me a bit. And then Jackie took my car, and her, bless his heart, her grandfather accidentally scuffed the side of my car. Cracked my headlight just a little bit, and then scuffed part of the paint off.
Fucking old
and
people.
I was like, man.
It's like, hey, old man.
Yeah, I know, right?
Kiss my boot with up your butt.
Anyone who knows me knows that I take care of my car like a lot. I wax it like once a month, like real wax once a month, because it's Texas and it's always hot. And I'm very, I love taking care. Yes, yeah, about the car basically, and for that to happen, I was like, I've got to get off the phone with you right now, and I was like, fuck. I know he's old, and he's one of our last living World War II veterans, and I feel like I'm conflicted right now in my feelings. I was like, I need a beer.
The war missed you,
man. And this is our Memorial Day episode we're recording.
It is.
You're like just all over, like, fuck him, I don't care.
What was what branch of the military was he in?
He was a paratrooper. He was Army infantry.
Oh.
And he fought on the Eastern Front along with my great grandfather.
Talking about the Pacific.
The Pacific.
Oh,
yep.
Okay.
And that's I think I told you got a little weirded out whenever I said it on the show one time, but he was like, whenever I first met him, he's like, you see this gold tooth? I was like, yeah. And he's like, I carved it out of a Jap's mouth after I stabbed him in the heart. And I was like, okay. Yes, okay, gotcha. All right. I was like, the only person I ever talked to about the war, or wartime in general, was my grandfather, because my great grandfather passed away at the age of 45. Lung cancer got him, and so he served on the Saratoga in World War II. And my grandfather, my dad's dad, he was a paratrooper during the Korean War. And luckily he didn't see any action. He was a sergeant, and they were testing 75 millimeter rifles, making avalanches in the Alps, and
They still do that in Alaska.
yeah. And he's like, yeah, we had this dummy. We called him Oscar. We lost him. We lost Oscar. I was like, well, I guess if you lost somebody, that's not too bad of a war story. You had it pretty good. And, so very fortunate that he didn't have to see that kind of action. But he's still got the cool boot camp where they still talk crap, talk all kinds of shit to you.
It's funny how you mentioned, like, how he made a comment and call him, Jap and all that. And how attitudes change. My grandfather served in Korean War also, and
oh wow,
it's was he World War II? I could have that wrong, but anyway, my grandfather served, and my sister's Korean. So when my parents adopted, my grandfather was like, "What, you're adopting an Asian?" He didn't understand that,
Yeah,
but his attitude completely changed when he saw his new granddaughter and how beautiful she was, and he came to love her. He completely changed the way he talked. And making, racist comments and things like that. And it was different times then. Unfortunately, it's the way they were brought up and the way they were taught, and because of the wars and things like that.
Yeah.
And so sometimes attitudes can change, and it's just interesting the times that are now. And like this movie that we're going to talk today is not without its controversies for being a bit racist towards the Somalians and things like that.
Yeah.
And but we'll talk about that when we get to it. But this is our Memorial Day episode, so we might talk some serious. We're not serious very often, but these are some serious subjects.
Yeah, they are.
And things like that. The Longs over there like, I'm not going to be very serious. He just has to look at his face. How was your week, Long?
It was good.
That's it?
It's good.
More Godzilla toys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very. No.
And go right now on our wherever you've listened to us on our podcast, we have a special episode that Long put out, his 10 worst Godzilla movies.
Yeah. We asked Long to put out, and he did.
With part 2 coming.
I sure did.
Part 2 coming later this week
Pooped
with his 10 best Godzilla movies. And so give that a listen. He worked hard on it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I put intro music on it and outro.
Yes.
And,
is it like a jazzy intro
that
music?
Might be something new.
No, it's from the franchise.
Okay.
Might be
I'm gonna have to listen to that
something
tonight.
new we do this year, where we do some like interlude special episodes throughout the year, maybe now and then when something comes up. So something.
Yeah. Recorded part 2 of the 10 worst Godzilla movies, which is fun. I didn't realize I was going to go 45 minutes just, on it. And like, whoa, okay, I sure rambled on there. And so next week I'll try to record the 10 most recommended from my personal preference.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then this has been a long week for me, working wise, and I actually last week I put in a vacation request for the Godzilla King of the Monsters release.
There you go.
So I'm going to watch it in IMAX with my brother.
Nice.
And I hope Hollywood redeems itself in my brother's eyes when it comes to Godzilla, because he was really disappointed in the 2014.
You didn't like the 2014 one?
No, he didn't like it because it wasn't enough Godzilla in it. There was a lot of monster action total. There was like half an hour's worth, but not enough Godzilla himself.
Yeah. I could
and,
see that argument.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
I did feel like it takes an hour to get to him, and then we see his foot, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
They go to this next scene, I'm like, we got to see his foot, that's it.
That looked great in IMAX.
Yeah.
When all the planes were exploding, and his foot comes down all of a sudden.
I actually saw it at the Showboat Drive-In, and so it was really dark, so it was like, because they didn't, now they have the digital screens out at the Showboat booth.
Yeah.
In 2014, they were still showing it on film. So, like, it was really hard to see some of the darker scenes out there. And when I saw the movie when it came out on Blu-ray, I was like, oh, that's what's happening here. So I didn't really enjoy it.
Is that still out there?
Yeah, it's still out there.
Oh, okay.
I didn't really enjoy it until I saw it on home video. I enjoyed it more. Driving is great, man. It's awesome to go see a movie out there. It's a lot of fun. And maybe we'll have to do a Rebel Radio drive-in theater one night or something.
Just bring your snacks.
Yeah.
I can't believe that they used to show, like, softcore porn on those things.
Really?
Yeah.
They did?
Back in the day, apparently.
That's hilarious.
Like the Birdcage. It was like, a budget movie filmed in the Philippines, and there's always like naked women in prison genre, and it's like, wow, drive-through. So you could be on a hill and have a free show. And,
Drive-in theaters were very popular in the 70s and early 80s, and then now you're starting to see a lot of them show back up. And a lot of cities are getting them again. It's kind of made a comeback. And the one we have here in Houston's awesome. You go see 2 flicks for like, was it $6-7 a person now?
Yeah.
And the kids are like $4 or something. It's cheap, and the concession stands. It's a lot of fun. A lot of rumor they might add a 3rd screen out there, and apparently they're going to open a 2nd location out in Pearland because everybody that lived in South Houston was complaining they had to drive this far to come to the one over here.
Is parking a bitch?
No.
Only on big movies. Like, if you're going to go see Avengers Endgame, you probably had to get out there at 4:30 and get in line, because they don't do advanced tickets. You got to show up,
Yeah.
But really, it's not bad, It's better to go in the fall when the movies start at 7, because like now movies don't start till 9. It's hard to make. When I've gone in the summer, I can't make it through both movies. I usually watch the first one I leave. 11 o'clock's enough. So in the fall you can kind of make it through both movies.
Oh, so summer's a killer for that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, for me, some people can do that. They can go movies and stay till 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're taking kids, it's just too late.
No, I mean teenagers.
Yeah.
Now,
Exactly. And it's cool. It's neat. It's a good experience.
Yeah.
Like I wish we had a true repertory screen theater here. Like we do have Alamo Drafthouse that shows old movies, but I wish we had a movie that theater was permanently dedicated to old movies all the time. I think that would be cool. There are towns that have that. We just don't have one here. So maybe one day.
One day.
So we'll see. So let's get into today's show. I guess download this. I did watch something. Not a lot, but I watched something. But I did watch the first episode of Cobra Kai.
Yes.
And I just actually my internet. I gotta call Comcast. My internet's been acting kind of weird, like with streaming for some reason. My computer's fine, just something with streaming. So I can't seem to get things to stream right. But anyway, it's another story. So it was kind of a slow start, the first episode.
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling the vibe as much as the first season, but I guess I got to get into it more. It's kind of cool to see Kreese back, but it's like the whole first episode is just Kreese trying to convince Johnny that, like, hey, let's join up and bring back Cobra Kai and make it the best again. And
you were my best student.
And we got that, and I felt like we got that point after the first 10 minutes, and like the whole next 20 minutes is just Kreese trying to convince Johnny, like, okay, we already got this. He doesn't want any part of you, But hopefully, I'm sure it will get better. I will finish it. And I just I don't know. I guess I'll have to watch it on my phone.
Hurry the hell up.
I know.
No.
And that's really all I've watched this week because work has been just tiring. That's it. Cobra Kai, see episode 1 at least.
Wow.
I watched something. At least I got it started. Give me a little credit here.
Yeah. Good job.
And
all right.
What did y'all watch?
I watched Despicable Me 3 and 2.
Kid movies don't count because my TV's always.
That's not a kid movie.
They're kid movies.
All right, Balthazar Brat in Despicable Me 3. He loves the 80s. What 10-year-old loves the 80s?
A cool 10-year-old.
A cool 10-year-old, but how many are those out there, man?
Michael
watches 80s movies.
I sometimes wonder if kids, like because I remember when I was growing up as a kid and I would see stuff from the 70s. I was like, oh, that's terrible looking.
That's old.
So I wonder if, if this generation's kids or the generation after ours thinks when they see the 80s, they're like, ugh. It's like, look at that fashion.
I think
look at that hair.
The hair.
I think there's a certain, like, Michael at first, because he's 10 now, there's things I've showed him that first he's like, doesn't get it, and he's like, wait a minute. But then once I sometimes have to over-explain it to him, and then he really gets into it. Like Flash Gordon, he loves it now.
Nice.
Or the Monster Squad and certain movies from the 80s he'll watch now. But there is that gap there at first. He's like, what is this? This isn't cool like the stuff we have now. But if I explain to him and the special effects and the way it was, then he usually gets into it.
Flash!
And,
sorry, every time I hear that Flash going, I have to do the Queen.
But,
nice.
Those problems here.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I did try and rewatch Avengers Infinity War.
Wait a minute, which one did you see? Both?
Oh, I did rewatch Solo the other night just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
Rewatch what?
Solo. Oh, I really like Solo, Star Wars story. It's a fun adventure movie.
Yeah.
And that's actually, we got some news on Solo later.
But that's about it. You long?
I watched the series finale of Game of Thrones.
Nice.
It's a mixed bag for me, but it did some things in a satisfying way with some of the main characters. I really love Emilia Clarke as an actress. She's done such a phenomenal. I can't say that word.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, thank you. She's done a fantastic job of acting on what she's given, and it makes me want to watch Solo actually because
I like her in Solo.
Good.
She's excellent as Kira.
Yeah, she's such a great actor. She's so expressive too, and I've always thought that she was pretty good as Sarah Connor as well.
Yeah,
which is kind of ironic because Lena Headey, she did the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
That was a good show.
Yeah, I liked it.
It's a great show. Yeah, and it's kind of weird that Lena Headey was also in Game of Thrones, so she played Cersei, and then now Emilia Clarke she was playing Sarah Connor, the same role that Cersei had, but nice little tie-in. But I actually acquired a DVD copy of 1974 Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. Nice. And it holds up. It's a very good, fast-paced movie for its time. Fantastic movie. Downloaded the soundtrack to the new Godzilla movie coming out. And it's just something about hearing the classic Godzilla theme being played by a Hollywood orchestra. It's just like, I don't know. It's just awesome. I've always heard the theme played by a Japanese orchestra or whatever. But when it's played by a Hollywood legit orchestra, it's not like the others were illegitimate. But man, it just sounds like I'm witnessing history. It's like, wow, it's the first time that an American musicians are playing, such a classic Japanese theme. Anyways, I was geeking out.
No, it's good.
And
I'm waiting for you to come over one night we record and just take off your shirt like, look at this Godzilla tattoo. Godzilla tattoo on your fucking chest.
Yeah, I would get no, I can't. I have beautiful virgin skin, and I like to keep it that way.
Virgin skin.
And then I showed you pictures of it. I've acquired some X Plus vinyl, high quality Godzilla statues.
They look good.
Thank you, and man, I'm proud of them. Pictures don't do them justice. You have to see them in person to see why I'm so
Long is gonna have you should have a Godzilla watching party. We'll come over. Yeah. We'll watch Godzilla, whatever movie of your pick out of the 33.
Yeah.
And then we'll check out your action figures.
Oh yeah.
I get it, man. I get the love for the stuff. I'm a big Star Wars guy.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has their own.
Like this little Return of the Jedi cup up here, I found at the Traders Village Comic Con a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
it cost me $5, but to me that was awesome. I love offbeat stuff like this. Like the vintage action figures are great, but they're a dime a dozen. I can go buy Luke Skywalker anytime I want if I want to pay $25 for it. But I like to find stuff like that's unique, that's from the 80s. That, it's just kind of it might tell a story, or something like that.
Yeah.
And, so no, I get it totally. I get that, and not everybody understands that. People will walk into your house like, "Why do you have all this shit?" Because it brings me joy, and they don't understand that.
Yeah,
they're like, "Well, sex brings me joy. I don't have a bunch of sex toys." I'm like, "No, it's not the same."
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. It's like, oh, what? It's like you have you have two kinds of guests, right? The ones that go in and they'll be like, "Oh, cool,"
right?
That totally understand. And then you have the other guests that are your normies, your filthy casuals.
Normies.
Yeah, that they go in as like they're like taken aback at first by the collection that you have, and then they'll be like, "That's interesting,"
Well,
or it's like, "Oh, I should bring my kids to see this." It's like, no, don't bring your kids.
Exactly.
I have still almost 15 years later, not forgiven his wife, Matt's wife here, for first time my Star Wars collection was on display at my mom's back in the day.
Yeah.
And so we were doing dinner at my mom's house or something, I don't remember. And Jackie walks in and she's like, "Oh, wow, this is like 40-year-old version." I'm like, "Really? Really?" I've never
You mean she said 40-year-old virgin?
Yeah, because the movie was out around that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
You remember the movie, he has all the toys. And I'm just like, I've not forgiven her for that. To this day.
She's like, "I will always remember it."
I'm just like,
you just my action figures.
You tell her you don't stop playing because you grow old. You grow old because you stop playing.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
So. She caught me playing with my son's toys before, and she's like, Are you really playing with toys? It's like, yeah.
Hell yes.
Hell yeah, dude. My son's Mashems. He has those Marvel Mashems, tons of them.
Yeah, that's the advantage of having kids.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have an excuse.
You do it because you love it.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, it's like not like my Godzilla vinyls have any articulation. They're just for display, anyways. They're made to be displayed.
Yeah.
I showed you that Anguirus, the spiky turtle looking monster. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
There's no articulation to it.
Yeah. They're for there.
Look good.
Yep. You never diss what anybody loves, man. It's like I have a few pops, but I'm not a big pop guy. But there are people that love them. I don't necessarily get why you want hundreds of pops, but you know what? Not going to diss it either. Everybody loves what they love.
Babies.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Or people who collect freaking baseball cards, or baseball memorabilia, or sports memorabilia, wearing freaking jerseys.
I mean, there's no wrong fandom. If you love it, you love it, man. Enjoy your fandom. Wear it proudly.
Wearing uniforms like a bunch of nerds.
Now, there are some fandoms really weird. If you're a furry, you're out there having sex in furry costumes. That's a little odd. You know, but
it's a fetish.
It's called snuffing, Mark.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's called snuffing.
I didn't know there was a legal term for it.
Yep, I watched an episode of Law & Order SVU, and there was a guy, and he's like, "Yeah, it's snuffing her, man. It's snuffing her."
He's like, knows one.
No, yeah.
He's like, what's that term? What's it? It's like, I can't remember it. Anyways.
Wait, you know a furry?
Yeah, Frank.
Oh.
It's a good thing he doesn't listen to this.
He's like a blue wolf or something. He goes out as the blue wolf.
Very rarely. Every now and then he'll be like, "Oh, I listened to this episode," but he doesn't listen to it on a regular basis.
Yeah.
If he does, so what? Frank knows we bust his balls all the time on the show.
Heck yeah.
So
I don't. No.
Yeah, I really don't want to go anywhere near Frank's balls, to be honest. But,
No.
All right.
That we know of.
No.
Oh, man. Come on.
Ouch.
It's all right. On that note, today's featured film, as it is Memorial Day when you guys are getting this episode in your ears, as we always release on Monday, and we felt like let's do something kind of Memorial Day related, and so we chose to do a modern war film. We're doing 2001's Black Hawk Down, directed by the incomparable Ridley Scott. And he kind of did this movie to challenge himself. He felt like I remember reading that there was a couple of scripts he had on his table, and he had never worked with Jerry Bruckheimer before, and he hadn't really made a true war film, so he wanted to do this. And it's
visceral.
It's visceral. It's quite a remarkable way it came together. Jerry Bruckheimer's producer pushed Ridley to do more than his normal directing. And it took Ridley out of his element. Ridley is very much a set up a shot, classical director, let that scene play out. But this movie is, once you start working with Bruckheimer, it's very raw, it's very quick moving, quickly edited. And at first Ridley wasn't sure, but he ended up really liking the finished product in the end. And he said it is one of the most different movies he's ever made, because it doesn't feel like a standard Ridley Scott movie. But man, this movie, from the beginning, it brings you into it, and it doesn't stop. It's 2.5 hours, and it moves quick. It's a really fast 2.5 hour movies. And I've read some critical reception saying that there's not enough character development, but I didn't feel that this movie necessarily calls for that, because people always get caught up when a movie is based on true events. Like, oh, it's not accurate enough. You're not getting to know the characters. But this is an account that's based on true events. It doesn't. It's not trying to tell the actual story from beginning to absolute end of what happened to the 19 soldiers that died, or was it 20 soldiers that died?
20.
And it's simply telling an account of what may have occurred, of the best of our knowledge, from the book that was written by Mark Bowen, which I actually read this book back in around the time the movie came out, because I was curious about it. And the book is much more in depth, as most books are. Lots more soldiers in it. It's like 100 different characters in the book compared to about 40 different characters there in this movie. And I saw this in theaters. I remember it came out right after 9/11, about 3 months, in a wave of patriotic wave. This movie played very well in the U.S., $110 million at the box office. Mm-hmm. Not so well overseas, which we'll talk about later, because it is a very much American. I wouldn't say it's a propaganda movie, but it's very much an American film. When was the first time you guys saw it?
I think I saw it whenever it came out on DVD. I was at a friend's house, and we were waiting for my dad to pick us up. and we're gonna go to the Rock. I think we're gonna go to the Rock gym, and do some indoor climbing. And he's like, "Have you seen Black Hawk Down yet?" I'm like, "No." And he popped it in, and I just remember all the gunfire.
No.
Yeah. I can't hear you. What?
Oh, this movie in theaters, man, was booming.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah. A lot of noise. It looks. I watched it again in the 4K, the HDR 4K, and I thought the that sepia kind of color would kind of throw off the HDR, but it comes across really nice. Looks really good, really good looking film.
This is one of those newer films that it's only a 2001 film, but actually was remastered for the Blu-ray release a couple of years ago. Because Ridley felt that it looked a little grainy in parts, and things like that. So they actually went in, and that doesn't happen very often with a newer film.
It kind of reminds me of Kong Skull Island a little bit, that kind of filming, where sepia, that sepia color at the beginning.
Colors,
yeah. So I know it's different at the end, but yeah, that's probably the only film that I could say kind of looks like it.
Yeah.
If anyone's looking for a comparison,
maybe.
Yeah.
When was the first time you saw Long?
I saw it on Netflix about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And
so pretty recently.
Yeah, and I don't remember ever finishing it, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I do remember the intensity, and I do remember how crucial that the movie illustrated on how important the helicopters played a role in getting into the battlefield and trying to get out, and especially when one of the helicopters crashed.
Yeah.
I don't know if we were getting to the plot yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, ultimately, this was supposed to be this is based on a true story in 1993. We went to intervene in the Mogadishu civil war between these warlords that were
Somalia.
Killing civilians, starving them. Over 300,000 people were being killed.
It's a libertarian paradise.
Right, and Bill Clinton felt that we needed to go and intervene.
It's Bush.
Was it Bush?
Bush.
In 93? That's right, it was Bush.
Yeah.
Clinton's the one that pulled him out a few years later.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
And so, we went in there and it was supposed to be just go in and get this warlord because we finally knew where he was and get out. That was it. And it turned into a almost 36-hour firefight. After these two Blackhawks go down. Initially one goes down, and then a second goes down, and they had to get those men out, because the Rangers' motto, and this is very true, is leave no man behind. They weren't just going to get out and leave those Blackhawks there, so it ends up being this firefight where they're caught between the Somalian warlords, and they also have all kind of militia and other people shooting at them. And that's one thing that the movie takes critics from, is like, there was a lot more going on than the movie really lets on, but they had to condense 36 hours down into a 3-hour film.
Yeah.
I remember being alive during that time.
Yeah, I remember seeing it on TV.
Yeah. And I remember, even before the whole Battle of Mogadishu, I mean, before the U.S. forces even landed in Somalia, you always saw it on the news every day on how much the Somalis were suffering from famine. And
hostile country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you always saw how skinny the kids looked, how skeletal they all looked, and and watch that every day on television. They're like, maybe we should do something about helping that populace out. And it started out as a humanitarian mission.
Yeah.
We went there with tons of food and grain, and the warlords didn't like it, but they tried to paint the picture of making it look like, foreign soldiers are are on our homeland, and they're kind of ruining the balance of power here.
Yeah.
So, that's why they were hostile. But and I remember, might as well leave, let them starve.
Well, towards the middle of the film, when the soldiers' bodies are carried from the I remember seeing that on TV. I was in high school. I remember actually watching that. I don't know if it was live or anything like that, but I remember seeing that.
I was in middle
school. Being carried on TV as they're walked across out of their Blackhawks, and this movie, their original script apparently had a lot more stuff about like should we be there or not. Like you said, I felt that we should go. Sometimes we should intervene. That's why we are the U.S. We have to sometimes go in and take care of things that aren't being taken care of otherwise, and I think that's expected of our country in some ways, and the might of our military. And the original script apparently contained a lot more of that. A lot more neo-political stuff where we were like talking about why we should be there. But Ridley Scott felt that he didn't want to make the movie overly political. He wanted it to be more about the soldiers and the men and why they're there. So he cut a lot of that stuff out. There's a little bit of it. Like, they clearly ask Eric Bana's character, like, what do you think? He goes, it doesn't matter what I think. All that matters is the man next to us and what we do for each other. And that really, maybe that simplifies it, but he's right. You know, that's ultimately what this mission was about, was to take care of each other and go and get in. And I think it's handled very well in the movie as far as not over-politicizing the film, but making it a story about what happened in these 36 hours in Mogadishu. You know?
No, I agree. And a lot of first appearances in this movie, too. Tom Hardy.
Eric Bana's first American film.
Yeah, his first American film.
Eric Bana?
Is it Bana or Bana?
It's
Bana.
Bana.
I don't know.
Bana. He's not Brazilian.
Is it Bana? Yeah.
I had to look hard to catch Hardy. Hardy looks different than he normally does.
Very young in it. His first appearance.
Orlando Bloom.
Yep.
Josh Hartnett.
Hartnett.
Yeah. Well, Hartnett had done Pearl Harbor already.
Right.
But it's still one of his early roles.
He was in this one.
He didn't want to do this at first because he had just filmed Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to miss a chance to work with Ridley Scott. Orlando Bloom, Ewan McGregor's in the film.
Yeah.
Jeremy Piven, Tom Sizemore, who had done Saving Private Ryan, did this. The guy who plays Jaime Lannister on Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
One of his very early roles is in this.
Yeah.
Man, in some ways, this is quite a really good cast. I mean, you look back on this film, you're like, wow, these guys would cost millions of dollars today in 2019 to put them all together in one film.
Yeah, man.
You know, and they're all in this movie together. And I think the movie does a good job of juggling the characters overall amongst all the chaos. Oscar Isaacs is in the film. Or not Oscar Isaacs, Jason Isaacs. Yeah, he's in there. Man, the great Sam Shepard. You know, that's one of his roles. You know, he just passed away a couple years ago, playing one of the generals. Glenn Morshower, man, he's always in military movies. Local Texan boy, we see him at Compalooza a couple times. He's in the film.
What role is he playing?
He plays one of the. He's the older bald general. He plays
he's like a military figure in First Class.
Yeah, he's always in military films. He's in First Class. He's in the Transformer movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, he always plays military guys. He's in the television version of Friday Night Lights.
He's that type, huh?
Yeah. So, man, but a really good cast in this film that Ridley Scott was able to put together with a lot of guys who are stars now, you know, when this came out.
Yeah, they looking back and how they started off from this film, where they are now, like you said, it would be a whole different budget number than what was posted. Yeah. And like you said, you know, there is some depiction of the foreign the foreign hostiles and citizens in Somalia, which this wasn't. A lot of people thought it was filmed in Somalia, but it was actually filmed in Morocco. And they wouldn't go near Somalia because it still is a hostile territory. We never fixed it.
Well, yeah, the movie took some critical flack for being, like I said, racist to the Somalians and showing them in the light of being violent, being not receptive of our help and things like that. The way I look at that, though, is this is a film. It's there to tell a story, and it is an American film. I mean, you're not going to make an American war film that's not necessarily that's trying to celebrate these soldiers and make the bad guys look like good guys. I mean, that's just my personal thought on it. You know, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a war film except for maybe Eastwood's Letters from Iwo Jima. You know, that shows that shows the side of the bad guys, but that's what it's for. I think there's a certain element for that movie that the way the story is told. This story is supposed to be about the 20 soldiers that died in the 36-hour battle. It's not supposed to be about the Somalians. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
It's about survival.
Yeah, it's about survival.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and that's what I think that this movie is so told. And I think that's why it played well in America and not well overseas. If you're overseas, you're not going to go see a movie that you consider American propaganda about American soldiers. It's just not. It's not geared to play well overseas. You know, this movie was never meant to make tons of money in the foreign markets. But foreign markets were also different in 18 years ago than they are now. You know, now maybe this movie plays well in foreign markets. Who knows? You know,
maybe.
It just, I mean,
with time.
A few years ago, comic book movies didn't play well in foreign markets, and now they do.
Now Somalians have this world perception of being pirates of the Gulf.
True.
It's like you sail around those waters. It's like you run the high risk of being hijacked by Somali pirates.
Yes.
And but you know, technically, you know, this movie is Ridley, I talked earlier about Ridley Scott, how he's a very classical director. When he first got dailies back from this film and the quick editing and stuff, he wasn't really sure if he liked it. He was like, I don't know, he really didn't. But then he started seeing more and more, and he kind of liked the way the movie was put together. Mm-hmm. And he still did things the old-fashioned way. He still storyboarded every film, every scene of the film.
Storyboarded everything.
He shot it that way, and then he ended up trusting the editors to put it together the right way. And when he saw the initial cut of the movie, he didn't even realize this is my movie, because it's not his typical style to have it quickly edited like that. But I think it works. I think this movie gives a sense of dread and intensity by having it quickly edited and moving fast. I think it works so well.
I think it helped him in the long run. Mm-hmm. If you see the movies post Black Hawk Down, I mean, the way he shoots action now, it's really good.
Like I really liked a couple years after this, he did Body of Lies with Russell Crowe and Leonardo DiCaprio, which I think is very underrated.
Yeah, good movie.
It's a really good movie. And
speaking of that movie,
he wanted Russell Crowe to be in this movie. Yeah, but Russell was busy filming A Beautiful Mind. But he had a part for Russell Crowe in this film because he had just worked with him in Gladiator, and he really wanted him to be in Black Hawk Down. But their schedules weren't able to work out, but I think this movie does take some historical inaccuracies. The fight, the battle towards the end, that overnight, they're trying to get out.
Yeah.
Actually was much longer than the movie depicts. They were actually trying to get out of that town for almost 15 hours, but the movie says the movie makes it seem like it's 3 hours as they're trying to get out of the town.
Yeah.
The Mogadishu Mile really did happen, but if you listen to most of the soldiers' accounts, we weren't running for bullets. By that point, we were safe. We were simply walking to a rendezvous point to get out of there. The Pakistani soldiers actually played a bigger part. They actually they didn't wait till the last minute to open the stadium. They were actually there the whole time. They sent soldiers in to help the American soldiers, and they actually had soldiers in the fight too. But the movie depicts it like they weren't answering our phone calls. They finally opened the stadium at the end. But dramatization. It's going to happen. There are some things in the book, like I remember reading. There's a scene in the book where a soldier gets his finger cut off, and they literally pick it up, put it in his pocket, and tell him to take it with you. We'll fix it later. There's one soldier that you see in the movie really briefly. There's a scene in the book where Mark Bowen accounted the RPG going through his stomach, and they sat there on the battlefield trying to disarm this RPG.
Yeah.
But in the movie, you see a real quick scene of them putting him in the Humvee with the RPG in his stomach.
Yeah.
But in actuality, though, they tried to disarm that to keep it from blowing up.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah. And it makes you wonder if maybe they shot some of that. And
he's got an RPG stuck in him.
Floor.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some scenes, some of the Somalis with machetes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of the stray dogs on the set weren't really part of the movie.
Really?
They left them in there because Ridley felt that it gave a sense of dread and realism to the town. Yeah. They were just kind of walking on set.
And then some of the actors adopted them and brought them back to the States.
Yeah, and this movie had full military support. They brought in a lot of real rangers and stuff to do some of the rope jumps and the falls and show the soldiers how to stand and all that. Because the military has always been good about supporting Hollywood, but there's sometimes they don't support films. They either don't have in their budget or they just don't feel the need. But they had the full support to give to this film because they wanted the story to be told to these soldiers. And there were a couple of changes, like Grimes, Ewan McGregor's character in Mixed Coffee. That actually was his real name. A lot of people believe that there was this other soldier that did make coffee, but he got arrested for child molestation a few years after the battle. So the producers of the film say, no, that's not true, but it pretty much points to that they didn't want that character to be in the movie because of his what happened to him with his legal life. So, I think when you do true films, you're going to take some historical liberties, and I don't have a problem with it necessarily. Movie I enjoyed last year, Bohemian Rhapsody, took a lot of historical things, but it didn't keep me from enjoying the film, I think if you do it tastefully and you do it right, it can, we've talked about that before.
Yeah, if you pace yourself in the movie, in the film.
I like to make a little confession, too.
Uh-oh.
I didn't have a chance to watch Black Hawk Down.
Really?
Right. Because what I watched instead, though, in keeping with the theme of the episode, was Midway. Charlton Heston and Henry Fonda.
Henry Fonda.
Yeah.
He's still alive, isn't he?
Henry Fonda?
Yeah.
No, he passed away.
Wasn't he in Ghost Rider?
No.
Who am I thinking of? Was Peter Fonda? Peter Fonda. The other Fonda.
Yeah.
Wasn't he in Cake Boss? That's fondant.
Yeah, I don't want to throw things off schedules.
Yeah.
It's like I wanted to kind of watch something that was kind of the opposite.
In a way.
In a way, like it wasn't like a where the movie ended because we survived, but a movie where it changed the course of war, and there was a lot of sacrifice made in that battle. By the soldier, the pilots, going against the Japanese naval forces too.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to supplement.
Yeah.
Black Hawk Down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Black Hawk Down is a really, I think, excellent film in a lot of ways. I think it's somewhat underrated. I think it got lost in the early 2000s amongst the patriotic wave of films, and people have maybe not forgotten about it over the years, but might have watched it once and not watched it again. But man, it launched the careers of a lot of young actors. Eric Bana went on to make, I always say Eric Bana, he went on to make Troy, which I think Troy is really good. I think he doesn't get enough credit. That's a movie we'll have to do one day.
And that's why no one will remember your name.
That's such a good movie, man.
Director's cut or original?
I like the director's cut better.
Okay.
Have you seen the director's cut?
I've only seen what's on
so
cable.
much more violent than the director's cut.
Oh, I'm sure.
There's like women getting raped in it during the battle at the end and stuff. It's
I heard
much more,
there's more story elements too besides that.
That movie is so good, and people like knocked on it.
It's Wolfgang Peterson,
Yeah,
right?
it's excellent.
Yeah,
Wolfgang Peterson.
With some young actors in that one who got their start too. But overall, I think Black Hawk Down is. I'd put it amongst Ridley Scott as director, amongst some of his best work. I think it's a really good war movie. It's exciting to watch. I remember seeing it in theaters and thinking it was one of the best action movies I had ever seen. And and we didn't know that 15 years later we would get a movie like Mad Max
Fury Road,
the best action movie to ever exist.
Yeah,
but I thought this at the time was really, really well done.
Can Captain Phillips be counted as kind of a sequel?
Captain Phillips.
Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah, I saw. Speaking of the drive-in, that's where I saw it. I saw it at the drive-in.
That's an intense movie.
Yeah.
Well, anyways.
Yeah, but I haven't seen Captain Phillips yet. I need to.
I know that, really.
Yeah, I know the memes.
It's a really good movie.
I'm the captain now.
They did that with Star Wars with Rey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she says that to Chewbacca. Look at me, I'm the captain.
So, any final thoughts on Black Hawk Down?
I like the action. I like the banter between the soldiers, and I like that they use the real radio chatter while filming. So the historical accuracy. They also use some real satellite images, things like that. Yeah, they did their best to maintain accuracy, and I think the military the personnel that was there on set thanked them and wrote a letter. I think they did a really good job, and it's still entertaining, holds up. I think the cast alone makes this movie work so well with Ridley's directing too. Yeah, the 4K is way better than the Blu-ray. Amazingly, I didn't think it'd get much better, but I took advantage of the 4K TV I've got now, and got my money's worth out of it. Looks really good. I had excellent time watching this film. Great pick for Memorial Weekend. Yeah. Yep.
That's what would Frank say? No, I'm kidding. No. Look, even though I've seen Black Hawk Down 4 years ago, I still really appreciate how intense that movie is. Mm-hmm. And despite all the chaos around the battle and all the fighting scenes, Scott did a good job of walking you through each character's motivations in trying to survive that battle. Yeah. And not only the soldiers in the battle, but also the commanding officers outside the battle trying to get things, trying to get a clear control the chaos. To control the chaos and try to find out what's going on in that fog of war. And,
fog of war.
Yeah, fog of war. But if I were to score it, I'd definitely give it a B+.
B+.
A minus. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
How about you guys?
I'd probably say an
A minus, B+.
Solid A minus. Yeah, because I could give it like 8 out of 10. I think it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Really, I really rewatched it the other day. I'm just like, wow, this cast is that just still gets me. I'm like, this is an amazing cast of actors. You know,
and if you don't want to be depressed by Black Hawk Down, watch Midway.
Yeah. Well, I don't think. See, I look at Black Hawk Down as it's a war movie, but I don't find it as sad as as Saving Private Ryan or even Lone Survivor. Man, was hard to watch. Or American Sniper.
American Sniper.
It was still the actual aftermath of the battle. I mean, I know that Bush got a lot of flack for even being, putting our soldiers in danger in the first place.
I remember that.
And it was just a lot of criticism lobbed. Even at the armed forces. I mean, I don't want to get too political in the show, but I remember reading that a lot of people believe this battle and being there is what cost him the election in '94. Mm-hmm. That people just felt he was using our military the wrong way. Yeah.
So who knows? It could have been.
Yeah.
And but I know. I remember he took a lot of flack, but he felt it was the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, in the end, maybe it wasn't. But it's like Eric Monda's character says, it doesn't matter what we think. We're just, that's the life of the soldier. You do what you're told.
Yep.
And being Memorial Day, we have to give those guys praise. All our respect to the role to the veterans. Our friend of the show, Brian, who's been on the show before with us. He's a vet. He served in the Navy. Your granddad, my granddad. My brother-in-law Clay. He's a veteran. So
Oh wow. And that's right.
So all the respect in the world to those guys.
Friends. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
I have quite a few friends that have served for our country, and we utmost respect to them. Absolutely.
Volunteering.
Yeah. So we salute you, is what we do here on the Rebel Radio Podcast.
And for the ones who gave the ultimate sacrifice for the freedoms of our country and even your country.
Yeah.
So.
And that goes anybody that's listening outside the United States, because we do have some listeners. Anyone served anywhere in the country, whether your political beliefs are right or across the world, or you're told different things because your government's different, you're still doing something for your country. Whether you're in Pakistan, Japan, or wherever you're at, you're doing what you believe for your country.
A lot of countries do have a Memorial Day.
Yeah. So much respect to those guys as we cover a really good movie today. So let's get into some news, man. We got a lot of news to cover today.
Yeah.
We're going to start with that Terminator trailer. Terminator Dark Fate, the trailer finally hit. Me and Matt kind of a little banter back and forth on text. Yeah, I've watched it 3 times now, and I don't hate it. Sometimes when I text, it comes across wrong, but I just feel like we've been there, done this. I'm just I know it's a sequel to Terminator 2, and they're ignoring the other ones, but I just feel like nothing in that trailer gave me any hope that there's anything new here.
Yeah.
Other than some CGI Terminators.
And I'm
gonna hold that hope. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna go see. I'll probably see it with you. I just hope that there's something more to it. And it is the first trailer, so I'm not gonna be too harsh on it.
I felt like you were defending against Matt and myself. Because,
was I?
Yeah.
Because I was actually supporting Matt's point of view too.
I'm like, how else are you going to take out a Terminator, a bazooka? How else are you going to make a Terminator film? CGI Terminators.
Well, it's funny. I like the Linda Hamilton stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff was cool. But just I felt like, if Arnold's a Terminator, how are they going to explain that he looks way old? I'm curious.
He was old in Genesis.
Yeah. And which a lot of people wondered why he looked old. They never really explained it.
They did.
Did they?
Yeah,
the second Terminator. He was the second Terminator that got sent back.
No.
Right?
It's you're right, actually. Second Terminator went back in time and was the bodyguard for young child Sarah Connor. Mm-hmm. So that's why his outside was all aged. Flesh.
Because it's skin. It's still skin. Skin ages.
I like this franchise a lot. I've always thought Terminator is a really cool idea.
More sun.
I actually enjoyed Salvation for what it was. And I've always wanted this franchise.
Salvation was solid.
I've always wanted this franchise to succeed. I have always been a little mad at Cameron for giving up the franchise after Part 2. I always felt like, man, come on, Cameron, do one more.
He was trying to fund Titanic, wasn't he? Was that why he gave up the rights?
Or his ocean projects or whatever the fuck.
True Lies.
And
True Lies is still awesome.
I do love. I married Rambo.
My least seen Cameron film. I've seen it once or twice.
True Lies?
Really, yeah.
My horse is getting tired.
I just remember Jamie Lee Curtis in a bikini.
Oh man, that was whenever she goes from housewife to house stripper, in that scene, and she really falls, and that's really Arnold reacting, trying to like, oh my god, I gotta help her, but then she gets back up and plays it off. But yeah, I think there's a nod to Salvation in this. Whenever she's like, I am human. Sam Worthington's character's like, I am human.
Yeah, that's what hurt Salvation.
Yeah.
Is that the trailer spoiled that twist.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Well, that, and I think it was the first Terminator movie with no Arnold.
Yeah.
So it was a hard sell. But I like Salvation. And, and I want to like this. I mean, Cameron's back as producer. Yeah, I guess he had to play in the script. How much is he really a producer? Sometimes I hate it when they're a producer and only producer by name.
Yeah.
He does the final approval.
Yeah, like some producers, like when Spielberg produces a film, I've read enough to know about Spielberg that he's usually on set. If he's not doing his own thing, he's usually there on set with the director, helping his films be made when he produces them. I'm not sure how much Cameron is because
considering how hands-on he is, I'm sure that he'll.
I would hope that he is. So I'm holding out faith.
He's not just writing a checkbook for the director.
So I'm holding out faith for Terminator: Dark Fate. See what I did there?
I'm looking forward to seeing how Mackenzie Davis does as the hybrid Terminator protector character. Because I thought she was great in Blade Runner 2040.
That's who she's from. Okay.
Yeah, she played one of the synthetic prostitutes, and then she was also the NASA mission control specialist in The Martian with Matt Damon.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen that all the way through.
She was the one that spotted Matt Damon was still alive.
That's Ridley Scott, isn't it?
Yeah.
I need to watch them. I can't believe I haven't seen them. I usually see Ridley Scott.
It's a great movie. I rewatched it recently.
I've heard it's really good.
It holds up.
To watch it.
Yeah.
So we'll see how Terminator: Dark Fate comes out. It's not November. It's a Thanksgiving movie, I believe.
Yeah, Turkey Day
this year. So yeah.
November 3rd, I think.
The live action Akira is finally going to happen, but Taika, I can never say his name right. Taika Waititi, Thor Ragnarok director. He's going to direct this. This is a movie that's been in production hell for years. Warner Brothers been trying to make it.
Wonder which white actor they're going to cast.
Remember a couple years. Well,
Scarlett Johansson.
Waititi said he's casting Asians. That's what he's saying.
Oh.
A couple years ago, they were going to make it with Garrett Hedlund and Leonardo DiCaprio. Remember?
Really?
Leonardo DiCaprio's company is still producing. Leonardo DiCaprio's company is still going to produce it. Mm-hmm. They're still producing it, but they were going to make it. Leo was going to star in it as Kaneda, and Garrett Hedlund was going to be Tetsuo, and there was a lot of up in arms about that. And it was going to be a two-parter. They were going to film it back to back and split it into two films. And they had storyboards out there and everything. That was not that long ago.
If Kim Jeong is not playing Tetsuo, I will be very disappointed.
This is we did Akira on the show about a year ago, and it's still one of my favorite animes of all time. It's probably the movie that introduced me to anime.
It's kind of funny. I've only seen that movie once all the way through.
Really,
and that was 20 plus years ago.
Wow.
I like it, man. I like Akira a lot, and I want it to be a good live action version. It's still a mind fuck you when you watch it now, man.
I made the mistake of watching it late at night.
Yeah,
it's like with no lights on.
You're like, this is fucked up.
Yeah.
And
what the hell's happening to this dude?
Blue Girl, though.
Yeah.
And animation wise, it holds up, and so we'll see how this live action version. I think Waititi's a good director for it, man.
Yeah.
I think it should be exciting.
I mean, the way he does color in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
I want to see how he does Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Cyberpunk is not exactly like utopian type science fiction either. It's like you have to have neon. Well, yeah, if it looks anywhere near like Blade Runner, then we're in good hands.
I think so. I'm kind of excited for this. I wasn't a couple years ago when I heard about Garrett Hedlund and DiCaprio. I wasn't as excited. Now I'm a little more excited for this project. So we'll see where it goes.
Maybe they should get that actor who played Bruce Lee in that Quentin Tarantino movie.
Once Upon a Time. Yeah.
That looks good.
I can't wait to go see that.
Shit, they can cast me in that movie. I'd probably do it.
Man. I can't wait to see
what's
going
on
on in Hollywood.
I
haven't, I still need to see Hateful Eight, but I haven't been excited for a Tarantino movie in a while. I'm actually really excited for this one. It just looks so good. The Spawn reboot might be falling apart. Todd McFarlane says he's fixing to walk away because, McFarlane is learning that Hollywood ain't all it's meant to be. He wanted to direct it himself, write himself, and I read an interview the other day. He says, man, everyone has their own ideas of how it should be. Everybody's telling me what to do. McFarlane's about ready to take his project and go home.
Wow.
I think it's a good idea because from the get-go, I said this was a bad idea. a $45 million budget to make a movie about a superhero with a cape that flies all over the place. Jamie Foxx and Jeremy Renner were cast in the movie. Wasn't a big fan of the casting either, and nothing against Jamie Foxx or Jeremy Renner.
Mm-hmm.
They're not who I saw as Al Simmons or Twitch in the comic books.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking younger for this book. The whole idea was Al. Well, not necessarily younger.
Is it in production yet, or is it?
It's been in pre-production for a while, and I'm just to the point where like Spawn. Does anyone even care anymore? I mean, Spawn, it's still being made in comics, but is there really a huge market for a Spawn movie?
It's so 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's exactly. I'm just thinking, let it die.
Witchblade.
This is kind of like the Crow remake. We did the Crow a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I watched that.
It's like the Crow remake. We talked the Crow a couple weeks ago. Just let the Crow remake die. Stop
I'm telling
trying to
Jackie
do
you
this
said
stuff.
that.
Shh.
No.
Witchblade.
Shut your filthy mouth.
But what were you saying? I'm sorry.
No, I just feel like they should just let it die.
Yeah.
Let it die. Let it die.
Let it stay in the comic book realm where it's still flourishing.
Yes.
So, a few weeks ago we talked about how everyone hated the look of Sonic. Well, they're pushing the movie back till Valentine's of next year.
Oh, good.
So they can fix it. So, Sonic fans rejoice. You're going to get
there's no way that they're going to redo all that animation on the same time.
As quickly as they Like, I just don't... I'm not a big enough Sonic fan to really, like... I guess I didn't notice it as much, but sure, hey, whatever.
Yeah, because you have to animate each frame.
Yeah.
So
they had to push the film back a few months to get it. Because I guess it was coming out in July.
Yeah.
So I guess 6 months is probably enough time.
And we're talking about 24 frames per second. So...
That's
a
lot.
I'm not an animator.
No.
You shared the story the other day on our Facebook page. The Dark Crystal is getting a release, Age of Resistance.
Yes.
The Dark Crystal series is coming out in August on Netflix.
I'm looking forward
Matt,
to it.
Are you too young? Are you familiar with the Dark Crystal?
I am familiar with the Dark Crystal.
I mentioned, I rewatched this about a year ago probably. The movie was on Netflix. It may still be. It probably is if the show's coming to Netflix.
It's Jim Henson, right?
I don't like it as much as I did when I was a kid. I find the movie very slow and kind of boring now, but I completely appreciate it. All the work that went into it, all the Muppet work. I remember, I love the last 30 minutes. The last 30 minutes of the film is fantastic.
If it looks easy, you know how hard it is.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly.
Film.
The last 30 minutes of the film is fantastic. It's just the first hour. If you go watch the movie now, the first hour and 20 minutes is like really slow compared to when I was a kid. I remember loving the movie when I was a kid, so I'm going to give the series a chance for sure.
It was eye candy for for when we were younger.
Well, remember the creatures that like wrap around you and stuff? It scared me when I was a kid. It was really fucking frightening, man.
I used to be taken aback by that little fur ball. With the big old mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then that part where they're riding the Striders. I used to be so sad when they died, when they fell off the cliff.
Oh.
Yeah. I used to be sad by that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should be cool. They're still doing it with a lot of Muppets, I think, but with with some CGI now, probably.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
That's why I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Because it's live action.
I mean, they've been talking about a sequel or reboot for years.
Yeah.
So I think, a sequel / series, I think it's a good way to go.
I hope they keep the music character of it.
Yeah.
The soundtrack.
They had a good score of the original movie. So we'll see. A couple more months until Dark Crystal, The Age of Resistance coming to Netflix.
No more Game of Thrones to look forward to.
Matt, you work for Coke, man. New Coke is going to come back and tie in with Stranger Things.
I saw that.
Get the
July.
F out of here.
I remember New Coke, but I don't I couldn't tell you what it tasted like. People, I guess I've been reading online, people said it was sweeter. I guess.
Well,
it had more of a flat, sweet taste.
I know it was bad. Like, a lot of people were not receptive of it. In fact, it was the largest margin that Pepsi ever grew by as far as sales. That's how bad it was. And they quickly axed the project and went back, and that's when they named it Classic Coke. And that's how we have Classic Coke.
So I'm sure it'll be one of those things where they'll just probably bring
Clear
in
Pepsi. Did you ever drink
Pepsi Crystal Pepsi in the 90s? Yeah.
It's actually came back last couple of years.
Yeah.
Pepsi's had it in stores. So New Coke will be in stores this summer if you want to try it to tie in with Stranger Things.
Yes.
I'll give it a try.
So, yeah.
I'm going to have to give it a try, too.
Why not? And Jessica Jones Season 3, the final Netflix show's coming at the end of sometime in June.
If Hellcat does not make an appearance, I'll be sorely disappointed.
They haven't officially announced what day in June, but it's coming. Then no more Netflix TV shows. And hopefully Disney Plus is able to buy all these shows up because I want more Daredevil, damn it. I want to see Daredevil versus Bullseye, full-on Frank Miller storyline. That's the way they ended season 3 to set that up. I'm going to be fucking pissed.
I should try to find a trade paperback on that and read it.
Yeah.
I've never read that.
Oh, man. So good. One of the best stories you'll ever read.
Yeah.
I want to save that news for them. But we got a lot of Star Wars news. Lots of rumors going. The Knights of the Old Republic is going to be this trilogy that's coming out in 2022 that it might... well, no, I guess there's 2 different rumors. That's the Game of Thrones guys doing that in 2022.
Yeah.
But now is that Lucasfilm is actively developing a Knights of the Old Republic film, or maybe another trilogy of films. The way I feel like when rumors come out is that there's some truth to them. That someone leaked something out that said, yeah, they're talking about it. Doesn't necessarily mean they're doing a script or anything like that, but
it's a possibility.
They're throwing the idea around. Because I think, I don't think Lucasfilm was worried, but I think they're starting to listen to fans and want to give fans what they want. You know,
fans don't know what they want.
No, not always. They don't. So we'll see. I think that it is a popular era, and it's really cool characters with Darth Revan and characters like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also one of those people that like that story's been told. There's a reason it was a video game or comic books. Do we really need a live action version of it? But at the same time, I'll watch the shit out of a Darth Revan movie. You know, right?
I would. So, and Bastila, the girl.
Yeah.
And as long as I think you do new stories, I don't want to have the stories already told in the games and everything retold. I want to see something new.
Yeah.
You know,
I wouldn't mind seeing the Darth Bane adaptation.
Yep.
You guys ever read that trilogy of books?
No, I've heard about it.
I know who Darth Bane is.
Yeah, I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
It's a really good read.
Another Sith Lord that killed his master.
No, a Sith Lord that came from a mining planet, and
oh yeah, Mustafar, right?
No.
No.
It's set in the
because in KOTOR 2, you have to read about the one of the tasks is reading up on the Sith Lords and asking trivia.
He does go to the planet of where the Sith Lords do train.
Yeah,
but no, it's really good about the political intrigue of Sith versus Sith. Yeah, you'll enjoy it. And then him taking up an apprentice who's a complete psychopath. Well, in the second book, she's a complete psychopath.
Yeah,
but I want to see a female Sith Lord in a new set of movies.
Yeah.
You know, that would be cool to watch.
And so we'll see where they go. Maybe Lucasfilm will announce something officially or soon.
Wearing nothing but a bikini.
And then there was an internet movement yesterday. Well, a couple days ago by the time I heard the episode, but for Make Solo 2 happen. You know, it was a hashtag yesterday. It trended for a while.
Yeah.
Of Star Wars fans, and I think that a lot of this leads to the negativity that happened in The Last Jedi. I
want to see Emilia Clarke
and the fandom device, the fandom being divided, is you know, they want to have some positivity. And Ron Howard kind of gave it approval, as did not Lawrence Kasdan, but his son that helped him write Solo. Says that hey, he'd be down for it. He wants to see more, and so there's even a rumor started that maybe Disney Plus will pick it up as a series and bring back the actors to do it.
That could work.
That makes me want to see The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
That reminds me. The Mandalorian's coming out.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see the trailer to the Gina Carano movie, the action movie?
No.
I forgot what it's called. It's about her trying to find her son who was kidnapped
Oh.
because she holds a fortune, you know,
And
because she used to be a military vet, and I guess she came across some gold bars, and some old military guy kidnapped his son, and Richard
Gold
Dreyfuss,
bars.
by the way.
yeah.
Richard Dreyfuss.
But man, I would like to see a Solo too, because I felt the movie was left open. There's stories to be told there. I thought the film did a good job with what they had to work with. Yeah, it's one of the stories that, you know, people always say prequels don't work because you don't need to know the story of those characters, but I enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah.
And I would have liked to have seen at least one more to figure out how Darth Maul tied into it all. And
yeah, you just see Darth Maul at the end, just in a battle stance, ready.
Yeah, so, you know, maybe this internet movie
with
will
the
help.
cyborg legs.
Cyborg legs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we'll see. The last bit of news we have, because it ties in with the movie we're doing next, is they released a teaser trailer for Star Trek Picard. You know, I'm not as hardcore of a Trek fan as you are, Long, but I have seen the finale of Next Generation, All Good Things, where Picard is retiring, talking about, you know, his life as a Starfleet captain. And I got a real vibe from this.
Yeah.
And it kind of made me, I got chills. I was like, wow, this might actually be really good. I'm not going to pay for Star Trek All Access or CBS All Access.
Did they show a release date on that?
I guess this summer, pretty soon.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And but I sure as hell might download this show illegally and watch it, because like I'm all for Patrick Stewart coming back as Captain Picard, man. I guess Jonathan Frakes is going to appear in it too, as number one. So man, this might gauge my interest to start watching some Star Trek again.
Yeah, and CBS said that Star Trek Discovery helped drive subscription numbers up.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
So as long as people are watching and staying involved and still raving about Star Wars, we'll still get films.
You mean Star Trek or
Star Trek?
Wait,
sorry.
What are you talking about?
What am I talking about?
Did you fall asleep during the podcast, Matt?
I did doze off. I haven't had any caffeine today, and I'm trying my best to have, like, I drink water all day today.
Why your eyes roll up in your head?
Yes, because I'm used to having like
giving me the whatever long look.
Yeah, I'm used to having so much caffeine, like enough caffeine to give a normal person a heart attack or go into like some kind of like
I kind of like low key Matt right now.
Yeah,
you don't give us your weird non sequiturs.
Yeah, and now and now without it, I'm like. I turn into this old man that starts falling asleep at like 9 o'clock or 9:30, and I'm like, ah.
Well, it's 10:37, so we'll
yeah,
we're almost done.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good.
Let's preview next week's film, which is related to the news. It just passed its 10th anniversary. We're gonna do 2009's J.J. Abrams directed Star Trek.
I couldn't believe it when the bartender told me who you are.
Why are you talking to me, man?
Your father was captain of a starship for 12 minutes. He saved 800 lives, including yours. I dare you to do better. Enlist in Starfleet.
You will experience fear.
Fear in the face of certain death.
Pull your chute! No! We received a distress call.
I've been waiting for this day my whole life. This day of reckoning.
I've got no captain and no first officer to replace him.
Yeah, we do.
You are capable of deciding your own destiny. The question is, which path will you choose?
James T. Kirk was a great man. That was another life.
They're locking torpedoes. Emergency evasive!
Fire everything!
Yes. The Star Trek that brought Star Trek to a new generation and made Star Trek cool again. Honestly, the Star Trek was your granddad science fiction.
Or fun.
And fun.
Yeah.
And, so I actually saw this in theaters and was like, really like, walked out of the theater and go, man, that was great. I still think, and I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but I will say this now in the preview, it might be a better movie than The Force Awakens in some ways. It's it's pretty good for a J.J. Abrams
Strong
film.
words.
Yeah. I said might be. I haven't watched it in a while.
I mean, the beginning, the opening scenes are, great. It really grasps you and entices you in the story.
We just did an Eric Bana movie. Eric Bana is in Star Trek. He's
the antagonist.
I haven't seen him in anything else since then.
Yeah, he's done some stuff, but not a lot of genre stuff.
Maybe he's just enjoying his
He's done some like romantic flicks and other things like that.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't done a lot of genres.
I really like him as an actor.
Yeah,
know?
I do too.
So
that
he reminds me of a poor man's Tom Cruise.
Like, well, I didn't know. Like
Eric Bana?
Yeah.
No.
Like, oh, this guy kind of looks like Tom Cruise.
Too tall.
Like,
yeah.
I liked him as Bruce Banner, honestly, and that even though the Hulk wasn't good, I liked him. Troy's movie where I really noticed him, like, wow, this guy's really good. So man, it should be a fun one to talk about, man. Not only are we going to talk Star Trek, but Godzilla comes out next week. So two of Long's favorite things. His brain might literally explode on the show next week.
I am literally quaking.
Can't wait to listen to some classic music whenever
Dude, we might have to strap Long down and make him record with his hands tied or something.
Contain him.
His brain's going to be like, Star Trek, Godzilla, how do you know how to do this?
I know.
So it should be fun.
Just combine the two.
Combine the two.
But make sure you go to wherever you listen to our podcast, listen to Long's top 10 worst Godzilla films. Our Who Framed Roger Rabbit episode is still playing. Our live show from Palooza for the Phantom Menace is still on there. And I guess we can officially announce this as we talk about the show. We'll be back at Misfit Toys on Saturday, June 15th is the plan. Yep. So we'll be back doing a live show at Misfit Toys again. We don't know that.
I have a portable table too. I forgot. Yeah.
So that'll be fun. And until
Yarp.
And then
Yarp.
What does that mean?
Yarp.
I don't know. It's a good.
It's Long's word. Yarp.
Yeah.
It's goofy.
The creepy meme, the creepy GIF you send though, it's like weird. That scares me. Yeah. I get frightened to work when you send that.
Yeah.
And go to rebelradiopodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. We're on Rebel Radio Pod at Twitter, Facebook, the Rebel Radio Podcast, Instagram, all that good stuff. And leave us a 5-star review on iTunes.
Please.
We appreciate it.
We will read your review.
We will read your review, even if you say I have sexual attention with Matt.
Yes.
I don't. I deny it completely.
Yeah, I deny it as well. There's nothing
deny
here.
it. But thanks as always for listening. We do appreciate it. And this has been Mark.
This has been Matt.
This is Long.
Until next time, just
go there and do it.
Do it, or I'll hunt you down.
This is Walter Simonson. You're listening to the Rebel Radio Podcast.
Hey, you're listening to the Rebel Radio Podcast. My name is Sean Patrick Flannery, and I hope you dig the podcast.